Hey everyone, yes, I'm still around, and yes, I'm still working on this theme creator for BigBox. Um, the delay in coming up with this video is for a number of reasons. There were a couple of features I really wanted to add before putting up the next build and obviously the next video. However, because I had placed this application out on the public forum for Launchbox, I had some European users complaining that they couldn't launch the application, and therefore I had to troubleshoot. And that took me a good 3 weeks to figure out the problem and get a fix so that they could actually launch it and play around with it. So let me open up the app and let me just alter the size a little bit just so that you can see. I've actually played around with the UI of the main screen and some tweaks to the editor itself, but from here I've kind of flattened the panel a little bit. I've cleaned up some of the areas like the list area, and removed the title bar, which allowed more real estate for the preview pane here, the preview area. Remove the drop-down combo box here, just simply show the title of the view, which is clickable. And yeah, just try to just simplify the whole look and feel, and added the current build or version number, basically, you know, front and center, or front top left of the window. And same is true within settings. I've added the version here as well. So what I want to do here is go through the motions of building a very, very simplistic theme as quickly as possible, using some new features that I've added over the past week, and then I'll go over some of the features that I added a couple of weeks ago. They're not 100% ready, but I'll still show it off nonetheless. So without further ado, let's get in here. Let's put it on. Let's put it in full screen and edit the system view, the system options panel, just to get things moving. So we've got some mandatory items here. Let's move this properties panel over here, and as you can see here, I've removed combo boxes, or a number of combo boxes or drop downs, and replaced them with custom controls, radio controls in this case, and icons. And you'll see these subtle changes as I move through the different UI elements with each of the different views for this basic theme. Okay, so let's add a background, and we'll place that in the background, move it down, and I just simply want a wallpaper like so. And the system options panel is going to be over here. Yep. And I'm just gonna, well, I guess I could change the font to that or impact, one of the two. What do I want? Impact. I don't know. But let's change the font size for sure. Why is it not changing the... Oh, it's because I need a style. Let's choose this one. And this is a bit harsh. So what I'm going to add here is a rectangle, and I'm going to use this as a backing for this. So left click on the UI element. You can do it from here too, either one, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to copy the wheel, select the rectangle, and I'm going to paste properties, and I'm going to paste the layout. The layout is this, so it's going to paste the X, Y, width and height, and these settings too, the auto size, okay? And that has now placed the rectangle at the same location and same size as the wheel. However, it's sitting above the wheel, which we don't want. Okay, I want it below. So I'm just going to call this wheel background. Okay. And while I'm at it, I'm going to create a new group. And let's change the background of this to black. Okay. Don't look too bad. I could leave it at that, or I could just simply change the opacity to 90. Yeah, I think that's fine. All right, so that's all that the system options view is going to have, this, okay? So we're going to copy this view because this is where our configuration is. And the reason why I changed this from a drop down to just a label, if you will, that's clickable, is so that you can see immediately which views have got configuration against them. And as you can see, the system view now has configuration. This now matches this. These are empty. This has content. Okay. All right. So with this, I now want to create the text filters view, which is basically a list of platforms listed in a text list. Okay. So I'm going to paste, and it's now provided a list of platforms that I have on the system. Same list that I have available here. I'm going to keep that there. Everything looks good. The only thing that's missing here is the video, or a video. And I think what I'm going to do is a new group. I'm going to call this video. Whoops. There you go. Don't want the group to shout at me. Add a video. And let's see, I'm going to keep the aspect ratio. And let me see, I'm going to have it about there, and align middle. And same trick as before, I'm going to add a rectangle. But first I'm going to click on the video, then paste the rectangle. I'm going to paste the layout. And again, it's sitting over the top of the video, which is not what we want. And I'm going to call this video background. I'm going to give it a black background. And now these are some new features I've added over the past week. They're called assists. So I'm going to go with effect, and I have the video background selected, and that is below the video itself. And what I'm going to do here is click assist, and it's saying, you know, it's giving me a whole slew of different presets. And I'm going to select shadow bottom. And here you go. It's now assigned the shadow effect for bottom only. And again, I can do, let's see, bottom right. So you can see the right hand edge, the bottom edge now with a shadow. But in this case, I just want bottom only. And there are some other presets too. If you want a blurred outline, light or dark. So there's a dark edge around it. Yeah, they all look good. But in this case, I want a shadow going straight down from the bottom. There you go. All right, so let's save that. So that's our text filters view for platforms. And I'm going to copy this view. And I want the same for the games. And just simply paste. And as you can see, for this particular platform, it's 3DO. The videos for these games are not in widescreen. So because I placed a black rectangle below the video, you now get black borders. And if a video is not available for that particular game, you'll just end up with a black rectangle. So at least that way the space is still occupied. And you don't have to go with a rectangle. You could have a static image, some kind of fallback value. But in this case, I wanted a black rectangle. Just keeps things simple. Okay, so now what I want to do is to create a horizontal clear logo wheel for the platforms. So I'll go to platform wheel 1 and again paste. All right, our wheel on the left, which was previously set up as a text wheel, has automatically switched over to a horizontal images. So we're going to change this. So let me just move the wheel over here, and there's our wheel background, which I'm now going to remove. I'm going to configure the wheel, and while I'm at it, I'm going to move the video. Let's see, center. Move it up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to move it up a lot. There you go. I want it centered. And again, same trick, copy, and then paste the location or paste layout of the video to the background rectangle. And there you have it. Let's focus on the wheel. I'm going to move it all the way over to the right, from left to right. And I don't want it all the way at the bottom. You can if you want, but for me, I'm not. I'm going to have it about here. And let's look at some of the settings here, which are all very kind of daunting. Okay, these are the defaults. But again, we have an assist. I want horizontal. And we've got it set to devices, which is what I want. And so let's add some stuff to this. So wheel, let's see. I'm going to add a rectangle. But this time I'm going to copy from the wheel to the rectangle and paste the layout. It's over the top. I'm going to call this wheel background. And I want it below the, well, no I don't. I don't want it below the wheel. I want it above the wheel. But I have an assist. And what I want here is a horizontal gradient with center focus. So what this has done is automatically set up a gradient for me where it's dark on the left and right and gradually kind of fades into a transparent area in the center. Okay, so I want that. Now I'm going to add another UI element. This one is what is this one? Frame. And with the wheel background, I'm going to copy, select frame 1, paste layout, and that's over the top of the, well, this isn't wheel background, this is wheel focus gradient. And now we have a frame. And we've got a whole bunch of assists for the frame. So let's start with appearance. Let's go with the border. I want a normal border, but I don't want the left and right. So I'll just change those to 0. And now, let's see, I'm just going to go with the defaults. So I'm just going to go with the default border from the bottom. Same as this. I went with the default. And I want an assist for the foreground, which is the border color. I want to go with, what do I want to go with? Gold, yeah. And then I want to go with a glass effect, okay? But I'm just gonna reduce that a little bit. So let's just go over what I've done here. So I have the wheel. Over the wheel, I have this gradient where the center is more transparent than the left and right. And then over the top of that, I have this frame, which I've configured to have this gold looking horizontal gradient on a top bar and a bottom bar only, with a shadow being cast. Okay. And let's just double check the wheel. The wheel is set to devices and it is set to horizontal. Yep. And I'm going to save. So now I'm going to take this and I want the equivalent for the horizontal wheel 1. So I'm just going to paste, and there you go. But I'm just going to visit the wheel properties, and as you can see, we have a mandatory UI element for games. And let's make this go all the way across, like so. And here's some, you know, an example of some of the changes I've made to the properties panes here. I've replaced the drop downs with icons, so you can immediately, you know, just single click and makes the adjustment there and then. Let's see, I want the search to be where it's supposed to be, which is right above the wheel, but underneath the gradient and the frame, which has the glass effect in it. So I think that's good. I'm going to save that. Okay. Right, I'm going to copy this view and I'm going to create a vertical view. Before I do that though, There's always something. Let me just quickly edit. Let's click on the wheel. The one thing I do want, again, I'm just going with the defaults. Shadow bottom and horizontal wheel. Let me just click on wheel and I'll explain what I'm doing in a second. Shadow bottom. Okay, the reason why I did this is so that each of the clear logos that appear in the wheel, they too will be casting a shadow. Okay, I didn't want it flat looking. I wanted to have some kind of level of depth. So I want those to cast a shadow. So again, I just took the default shadow bottom. You can adjust the settings, but I just took the default. Okay, so now I can take that view and go to a vertical view, and I'm going to paste. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to remove the frame, and I'm going to remove the focus gradient, and I'm left with the wheel. And I'm going to put it over there from top to bottom. And I'm going to move the search bar like so, and configure the vertical wheel again.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
With the assistant, I'm going to say it's vertical, and it changed all the settings. I'm going to save, and now I copy this view and paste. But for this one, I want the wheel and this wheel search on the right hand side. I click the wheel, use the assist, and this time select vertical curved right. Okay, so we'll just recap real quick. System options view, and again, we're trying to create a consistent look and feel here very quickly. And I think we've got, what, 7 views already defined? 2, 4, 7. Yep. Okay. Let me just double check. So we have horizontal for platform. We have horizontal for game. We have vertical for 2 verticals for the games. I could create a vertical for a platform if I wanted to. So I'm just going to go with that. So let's publish. Theme published. All right. Let's click on BigBox, and here we are. So this is our platform view using devices in with a horizontal. If I hit escape, here's our system options. We'll return. Sadly, I didn't adjust the video area well enough, and we have slight black borders on the left and right. That's my fault. But if I hit space to toggle the platform view, you have the text. Yeah, I did a terrible job at sizing the video. Okay. Yeah, so we just have two views for the platform, text and horizontal. And let's have a look. I didn't want to have a look at that one just yet. So here's our horizontal for games, and specifically for clear logos. Yeah. And here's our text view. And here's our vertical. And as I mentioned, that I wanted some depth on the clear logos, so each one is casting a shadow on the background, and hence that's why I clicked on assist and on the wheel and said I want a shadow, you know, for the bottom. And hit escape again, sorry, hit space again, and now we have a curved wheel on the right hand side. And again, each one of these clear logos is casting a shadow. It's very dark on the right hand side of the screen because of the wallpaper, but yeah, it looks really cool, real neat, very colourful. And I think that was it for these, yep. So let's go and exit BigBox and punch up the editor. And we'll go into a couple of things that I didn't cover. So we have a video here. So let's see, it doesn't really matter where I do this. I'm just going to add a rectangle. I can give it some basic properties. Let me see, I'll give it a blue color and let's see, a shadow. Okay, nothing major. Now from here, copy, paste, paste, and I can keep going until my system complains there's not enough resources. So I implemented a true cut, copy, paste in the past 6 weeks that would allow as many instances of a particular UI. Some UIs you're locked into only having one instance. Some is as many as you require, and obviously not enough to take the system down. So let's see. Same is true if I add, I don't know. Actually, let's do it with system time. This will be a fun one. Where is it? It's below. There it is. So let's change the center. Let's give it a different font. Actually, I thought I had a font on here. Digital. Yep, there it is. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And I want it centered. Let's just make the space like so. So now I have this. Let's change the color to yeah, that's a good one. What will I change it to? And for the effect, I'm going to do bottom right, but not that drastic of a depth. And take away the blur. And let's just change this up. Color combination here leaves less to be desired, but what I'm trying to do is just give it. So now I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste. Am I not allowed another one of these? I guess not. Well, that was a terrible example. I wanted to paste another instance of the system time. I guess I can't. Well, there you go. I guess that's one example of one that I can't have multiple instances of. So I'm in a game view, so let me take title. I believe this one works. All is not lost though. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy, paste properties, but this time I want the text and I want the effect. And I guess while I'm at it, why don't I take the foreground, effect, and alignment. That's centered with the video. There's the guideline. All right, I don't need the time. I'm going to copy. I can paste a second instance of the title, and I'll change it so that you can have multiple instances of the time too, just so that you may want to do the same trick. And what I want to do on here is actually change the shadow to be bottom right. This is the second instance of the title. First one is up here. I'm going to copy and then paste the layout. So now what we have is text which has a secondary, color on the bottom and right hand side, and then we have a shadow effect from that. And if I save and click on another game, you can see that both are being updated. So if you wanted to create some crazy text, that's another way that you can do it, is basically just create multiple instances of that particular variable. In this case I'm using title, and to do different colorations. If you wanted to do an outline on one but still cast a shadow, a deep shadow underneath, you can do that. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of show that off. I guess I could have picked a different color for the top one. Let's try. Let's try a blue. There you go. So you can, I mean, this is still not a good example of the color combination, but at least this way you can actually see the white. Let's use a brown. Yeah. I don't want to get too wrapped up in this. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, so yeah, you can copy and paste and cut and paste over to other views as well, or even other themes while you have the editor open. So yeah, I mean, I can take this and copy and then save and go into another view and then paste. Let me see. Actually, while I'm on here, you may have noticed this icon here. So yeah, I can still resize, alter the width of the video, but the one thing that you can do now is if you click just outside of that box, the mouse pointer changes to a hand. You can rotate the video. So this is something that I had in place day one. I never could get the rotation to work the way I wanted it to work. So I kind of do, but I just have issues with sizing, and I just need to sit down on my on Photoshop or a Photoshop equivalent on my Mac and play around and see how it deals with rotation and what stays in place and what doesn't while you rotate, or once you've rotated you resize the width and height. I want to see how it deals with that, and I just need to emulate that. But anyway, that's something that I've added. It's work in progress. It's kind of neat. I know it looks a bit weird because I've got two black rectangles at the moment, but one is truly for the video for sure. And I've only got the rotation option available for the video at the moment because I'm just using video as a test. I don't want to roll out that particular property and functionality to all the other UI elements at the moment, because it's a lot of work to undo. So I just want to play with the video, play with the whole rotation and resize, and make sure it's good. And then when I feel happy with it, then I'll roll it out to the other UI elements. But I'll keep this as is, so that when I put the build out there, you can play around with that. I'm also working on skew or shear, so you can shear an object on the X and on the Y axis. So you can do some weird and wonderful things with that in combination with rotation if you wanted to. So that's something that's in development as well. Again, it's work in progress, but it's not available on this particular build. I've got it on my laptop. It's not ready for public viewing. It's close, but it's not good enough. So let me just discard and get back to that. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to kind of bring up. I did mention that this now works, or it should work everywhere around the world. One thing that I was unable to test because I don't have an ultra-wide monitor was that this property panel here, this UI element and properties panel here, would have stretched all the way out here, from here all the way out here, if it was running on an ultra-wide. That no longer will be the case. It's this pane or window, if you will remain at a consistent size no matter what aspect ratio, no matter what resolution you've got Windows set to. If you are planning on developing a theme in portrait mode, this will also be unaffected. That was something that was brought to my attention by an individual that is building or attempting to build a theme in portrait mode, which I would be very interested to see once he's finished. But yeah, so this will now be a consistent size no matter the resolution or orientation. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Video, you've got a full screen toggle. That was there before, but it was a drop-down combo. Now it's just a simple toggle switch, and it's off. So I've got the resize handles back again. The same is true for image and animated GIFs, animated GIFs. And you can do the same thing there, full screen if you want. Let's see. And I think that's it. So a lot of the time was spent, a lot of the 6 weeks was spent troubleshooting with various issues with the application running in portrait mode, ultra wide, and the biggest issue was not running at all in Germany and France with their European configurations. So hopefully all those hard errors are behind me, and it's just a case of adding the remaining features, a couple of features to the editor now, and the rest of my time after that will be spent on bug fixing and refinement, and that will be it. But once those remaining features are added, then it will become a beta. So that's what I'm planning to do, is to get this stuff rolled out. Let me discard this view. Let's see if I have. I do actually have something out here. So I'll give a sneak peek at what I'm working on, and it's what we call a storyboard editor, but in this case I'm going to call it an animation editor, and to do it in XAML is quite daunting, and hopefully my approach will simplify it. I'm aiming to simplify that process. So if you've been using the last 3 builds of this application, you may have noticed under image and some other UI elements, you've got this animate tab, and there really isn't much to it other than this point of origin. But I can demonstrate what this means as I move the point of origin around. Okay, so I'm going to move it to the far left. move it up to the top left, top right. I love that. Anyway, point of origin in this example allows me to set the center point for rotation. Okay, in this case it's a CD, so I don't want it to be rotating off kilter or off center. So this gives me the ability to set the center point. Now you might be doing some other kind of animation and it's not a rotation of such as I'm doing with the CD. Maybe you want it to be off center and you want it to kind of give this bouncy effect, and that's totally fine. You can just alter it off center and you know, get the desired result. But in this example, because it is a CD, I do want the point of center, sorry, the point of origin to be the true center of the image. So that's one property that's been out there for quite some time now. And then in that same grouping, in that same animate tab, you'll have access to the animation editor. So that's where you'll be able to set up all your animation events, how they're triggered, what you want to do, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll find it very easy to set up. But when I get to that point, obviously I'll be demonstrating using videos, but I've got some of the foundation already in there. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of what I'm working on, or what I was working on before I had some application launching issues in Europe. So yeah, let's get out of that. So that's one of the last two features remaining for the editor, is the animation editor, and then the last feature is again just as tricky as the animation editor, but a much needed feature, which will be familiar to any of those out there that build themes. And I'm not even going to describe it right now, because it would need I would need to demonstrate it so you can understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, I've got two features left, and it's always the last two. It's just going to take the longest, but they're an interesting two nonetheless. Okay, so I believe that is it. There were a whole slew of other changes and bug fixes outside of the ones I've mentioned, and I'll post the entire list in YouTube just so that you can see what I've done since the last video. It's fairly sizable. Some things just took way longer than others, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Especially with you know, building somewhat of a simple theme from scratch. I didn't time myself when I put this together, so I have no idea how long it took me to put together. But I'm still working on the assist. There are an awful lot of preset settings that I still want to add, so it will give you at least will help you with the initial settings that you can always tweak up, you know, to get the desired effect. But at least, you know, I'll provide the default assist settings to get you hopefully 90% there or 95% there, you know, to your liking. But yeah, that's it. So until the next video, and hopefully the next video I'll have one of the, you know, the large features, the animation editor in place, and show that off. So until then, take it easy.